Welcome, folks. We're just getting started. We're going to be doing episode 10 of Campaign for America with Dennis Andrew Ball, and we are going to be talking about the Twitter files, family court, family attorneys that have been adversely affected by this, going back at least 10, 12 years, I believe, and much, much more. So we will be starting here momentarily. I'm going to do our countdown, and then we'll begin. The views expressed on the show are expressly the views of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views, beliefs, or opinions of News for Us World, its hosts, broadcasters, or affiliates. Remember, folks, always use your own discernment when viewing. We encourage our viewers to think for themselves. Welcome, everyone. We have Dennis Andrew Ball with us here today, and we are going to be discussing the Twitter files a bit and some other issues going on in our country and what we can do about them. So why don't you begin, Dennis, and go ahead.
All right.
I'll bring up that article you shared with whenever you get to that. Just let me know.
You bet. Welcome, folks, to the Campaign for America. This is the 10th episode since it began on newsforus.world with Stephen Phillips. I am honored to be his guest each week for the purpose of advancing our message that if you're not working for the family, who are you fighting for? If you're not fighting for your family, who are you working for? And it's really, I think, totally important that we start educating our people, especially our young people, generations that will come also from the millennials to Generation Z, because all of this has everything to do with the quality of our lives and our children. Today, we were supposed to have two guests, one Pam Solomon and one Candace Edwards on today's show. However, there have been events that have interrupted their ability to be here. So we are not going to have them this show. We may have them in a different show coming up, but just keep those names in mind because they have a story, both of them. And it's an important story. It has to do with their children, as well as the events of the heavy-handedness of the state and how they use law enforcement to coerce families into giving up their children. And as far as I'm concerned, this is trafficking of their children through foster care and money. I was on a show Sunday night about this and had the opportunity to communicate my thoughts on it, as well as many others had their thoughts too, how to solve these problems. I believe that we must have candidates in office that will correct the problem, win elections, declare this their interest in the family, make family first. Now, I want to say this. Because of that, I'm going to do a different show today, but I'm going to act more as a reporter and a journalist like Stephen without invoking my own opinions to the extent where I would have adversely affected what the government wants me to say or not say. I'm going to say what I should say, but I'm not going to necessarily inject my opinions other than to show the facts and let you, the listening audience, make your own conclusions. I think it's pretty obvious, too, when you have so many things going on that are adverse to families, as well as to individuals who are adversely affected by decisions that the courts make, particularly the family courts. And so, Stephen, I want to open the show today with what we just discussed here on these family court lawyers who are being murdered by the ex-husband of these different families who are representing the wives or girlfriends and their children, and who the husbands or fathers are being erased or snuffed out of their child's lives. And they put it on the attorneys for what has happened to them, and they are killing them. Now, that's a fact, people. You want to read some of this stuff, Stephen?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so this is a post by Ryan Stein, Albert Nicastro, and this was 22 hours ago. Practicing family law can be deadly. On December 7th, 2022, Georgia family law attorney Doug Lewis, pictured below, was shot and killed by his client's ex-husband. The alleged killer then set Lewis's law office on fire. And this is him right here, folks. And this was December 7th. According to one local attorney... Huh?
Pearl Harbor Day.
Oh, yeah, Pearl Harbor Day, absolutely, yep. No, you're right. According to one local...
that will live in infamy.
Right? Man, we're still living in, I mean, geez, there's so much going on right now. I think most of the recent events will be living in infamy too down the line in history when, you know.
You bet.
According to one local attorney, the lawyer's murder has shaken up the family law community, and some attorneys are keeping firearms in their office. Famous New York divorce lawyer Raoul Felder kept a gun in the desk drawer of his office because everybody hates divorce lawyers, sometimes even their own clients, according to his quote. In March 2017, Wisconsin family law attorney Sarah Coeurcion was shot and killed by her client's estranged husband. In February 2017, Oklahoma family law attorney Brian Young and his client were shot and killed by the client's estranged husband. In June 2011, Arizona family law attorney Gerald Shelley was shot and killed by a former client's ex-husband. In February 2011, California family law attorney Judith Soley and her client were shot and killed by the client's ex-husband. In June 2010, Minnesota family law attorney Terry Melcher was stabbed nearly 30 times by a former client's ex-husband. She persuaded the attacker to stop and survived. In February 2010, South Carolina family law attorney Redmond Coyle was shot and killed by a former client's ex-husband. And this is that first lawyer here, folks. You want to go over some of the comments?
Go ahead. You're doing good.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to go ahead and put I want to hear what's your take on this? Like, that's scary, isn't it?
Well, this is what I'm talking about. I just want to report the facts. I do think we are living in a civil war right now. The men are not going to take this, I believe, especially when it comes to their children. Right now, Cash Jackson is in prison or some jail term created by the state regarding his 3 children. I don't know all the details or the facts, but here's a man who, instead of being violent to other people, has taken the high ground, and he's serving time for something probably he had nothing to do with other than to see his own children. And this is the heavy-handedness of the state. I've seen videos recently where this Megan Walsh, daughter of the guy who has the TV show,
daughter of John Walsh from
John Walsh. She has a 5-day-old baby, and they take the baby.
Yeah, I remember we covered that when that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that's all about. Why she would lose that child, and then it's said that she had 3 other children too that she lost and were going to foster care. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the foster care system is out of control.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all profit motive to get kids to make money and destroy families. I don't agree with this, and I'm doing something about it, people. And you vote for me for president, you will see all hell break out because it's time. And any law enforcement people who cannot uphold the family unit and come to support children, parents, and grandparents are the problem. That's the way I see this. The realities are you have a duty to the Constitution to protect the people and their children from anarchy and obsessive behavior that destroys it. The family is first. If you can't protect the family, then get the hell out of here. Get out of the way so people who understand this will become the law enforcement and support children, parents, and grandparents and the rule of law. That is the real law.
Hear, hear.
So that's,
hear.
You know, I just want you people in law enforcement to understand I'm for the law. I'm not for elitism and for cronyism and for you to support your little buddies out there in la land because you're getting a paycheck. You understand? You have a duty to the Constitution and to God to do the right things. And if you can't do that, Get the hell out of here.
Damn right. Damn right. And, you know, we're about accountability under the law, folks. That's what we believe in. We advocate for constitutional law, common court law, and accountability under the law. So I'm going to read some of these comments from this
Please
article.
Go. Yeah, do it.
A.B. says, should have never gotten to such a point of desperation. So very sad. Brad Chalmers says, live, destroying lives, and your life may be destroyed. Live by the gun, die by the gun. They are willing to take a father's life. They need to remember that's a two-way street. Try not lying for people in court that keep kids hostage. And then let me read this other one. This is a good one. Be part of the pyramid of kidnapping, racketeering, falsified paperwork, corruption, collusion, and now well documented and exposed, stealing children, homes, property, life savings, future earnings, licenses, vehicles, passports, and repeatedly threaten victims' lives and expect to pay with your own.
That's
pretty much what's happening right now.
Yes. And I want to say this too. It also goes into the guardianship of senior citizens, particularly women, grandmothers who are being kidnapped, absconded with, and put into nursing homes for their money and property.
Adult protective services.
Drugged and killed.
Yeah. Yep. They're doing that too. I
took care of my own mother for 10 years just to keep her out of the system.
Kind of like I'm doing now.
Well, that's it. I mean, we're living in a brave new world. The technology is here now. They can track everything. The realities are, though, this is unconstitutional and it violates all of our rights as citizens. And I'm convinced of that. It does violate our rights, and therefore,
absolutely, 100% it does.
A totally different system created out of this. Those are the facts. Okay, I don't even want to say it's an opinion. It's the factual information.
Yes, we've seen the evidence, folks. It's really a bad problem.
It is. If Jesse the man Ventura, were here next to me, he would affirm all this. He knows what's going on in this government, and it's no good. All of the secrecy and secret societies, even when Mike Pence was there with Trump, he's a secret society. He's a Mason.
Yep.
There's no transparency. This is all about them. No, it's no good. It's got to change. We're the change people.
It absolutely does have to change.
We've got to get educated. I was in a group over the weekend with several millennials and Generation Z people, and they're all talking about this and that, this and that, this and that. We can do this, we can do that, this, that. Nothing about family. Nothing about if you're not working for your family. Nothing about how to correct the minimum wage system. You cannot raise a family on minimum wage. They don't talk about that. They don't have a clue how to have a family and how to support it. And they don't understand the responsibility and commitment of having a family. So when I talk about this and I tell them they need to learn, what do? They pounce on me. So guess what? I only took so much of it. And I said, I'm sorry, folks, but you got a problem I can't fix. Only God can. And so leaving the group participation, they all earned their badge and they're gone.
Those who have eyes to see, and those who have ears to hear.
Precisely. So, as it exists at the moment, we are dealing with a system and a society that has been completely hijacked from the framers' intention and sacrifice, both in terms of their treasure and their lives. And all of the military that have and are fighting for America's sovereignty and Constitution, the military, which I believe may have the right stuff in it right now still, but may not have the authority to do the things they need to do.
Right.
That's going to change with me as president of the United States.
I do have some good news regarding the mandates with the soldiers. They just passed the newest National Defense Authorization Act, but they managed to put it to make it so that in the writing that the mandates, they're no longer going to mandate to the soldiers. So that's a win. At least it's a win on a battlefront. Not a complete victory, but we're headed in that direction, I think. Hopefully.
Okay, good. I also had to mute my face because I'm getting into some darkness here, and it didn't look very good. So I went ahead and put the. I don't know how to put a picture on me instead of just a blank.
Even if you did, it won't show up on the live. It just shows up as your name. Unfortunately,
okay.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how. I got to figure out how to do that because other than that, I'd have to go around and just put it in a post edit.
Yeah,
mine doesn't show up either as my icon. It just shows up as my name when I go off camera.
Well, you might want to check that out Sunday when I was at the foster care forum. When we would go off camera, a picture of me would show up.
Were they using Zoom?
Yes.
Okay, so there's got to be a way to do it then.
Right, and it's a feature on the bottom of the menu board as to what a person can do in terms of the graphics.
Okay, gotcha. I think it might be one of the third-party apps that you can use to do that. Maybe. Well, yeah, I'm definitely going to find that out because I would love to be able to put people's pictures up there when they're speaking if they're not on camera.
Exactly. So, but that's any more. There's got to be some more there on the comments on that.
Yeah,
can you read them?
Yeah, of course. Bring that back up over here.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Let's see what we got. Same as someone breaking into your house to steal your money and kidnap your kids. People need to defend themselves against these monsters way more often. Timothy Dameron says, there's a way that seems right under man, but the end thereof is foolish and death. I have nothing else to say, but I can tell you it looks like there's a pattern here of attorneys screwing over men, and it seems to be driving to the point of insanity. Seriously, these are pretty outrageous claims, but they're totally preventable because lawyers like to capitalize on people's private lives in public and monetized. People see the deceit in this at some point, and I guess they're really upsetting people across the country if people are losing their minds enough to go and kill these people. Food for thought. I don't think that guy knows about the CPS family court corruption angle entirely.
Right.
Totally agree. Like no bar card carrying attorney doesn't know what in fact they are doing in destroying families. Well, yeah, most of them do because most of them we've noticed seem to be complicit in it.
Right, and it makes me believe that many of these people who are attorneys may have a real problem themselves regarding family life. Just to give you some quick background on me, after I graduated from the University of California in 1973, I went to law school for 6 months. I started reading case law about little old ladies being targeted for their money and property when their husbands died, the widows. I could not do that. I would not represent a bank, especially being a new lawyer. You'd have to have a firm to go to. You just don't come out and put your shingle on the door. I'd have to represent a bank through a law firm who's going after some of these people. I says, I can't do that. My parents were successful business people, but they were good family-oriented people. Why would I want to hurt a family or hurt anybody for their money and property, which I did nothing to earn it or preserve it? Why would I want to do that? Only if I'm a thief would I want to do that. Did you hear that, people? Only if I was a thief. A thief. Now put yourself in my position. What would you do?
Absolutely.
I walked away. I withdrew from law school. And I says, I'm not going to be an attorney. Screw this. This is no good. This is a license to steal other people's money and property. I couldn't do it. Maybe others can. That's why I'm a trustee. I'm not a lawyer, although I think like one. I will not do what lawyers do to good people. Screw them. I mean it. I'm done. I am done. People, you vote for me for president, you're going to see a whole new program. I've written about it. I've let you know in advance what's coming. Read my books.
Yes, please
You'll get
do. And we have the
educated.
links in the description, folks, so you can go check that out, because he's got a bunch of good books that are really, really easy reads, and they're broken down very, very simply so anybody can get through them. It's not a really tough read. It's very simple, down to earth, layman's terms, and it'll give you a lot of information in a small amount of pages, folks.
And if you're short on cash, go to your librarian, your local librarian, and say, I would like for you to order Dennis Andrew Ball's books on Amazon.com and have them available to check out through the library system. They're not that expensive either. No book is more than $9.95. So you can order them, order the ones you like, whatever. But get educated. We are such a dumb and dumber community now. We're supposed to be educated.
And there's no reason we can't be.
Stupid.
There's no reason we can't be educated, because we have the whole world at our fingertips through our phones, our computers. Okay, so there is no reason you can't do a Google search, folks. Anybody can. A lot of this information is public domain. A lot of this proof and evidence of this corruption is public domain. So there's no reason why anybody can't go out and find this information for themselves and look, and verify it for themselves, because it's all there. They're not hiding it at all, folks. And
living in a very corrupt time in history.
Oh yeah, I want to share one comment that this guy Robert Gettinger made, which I totally agree 100% here. Want to know why the DOJ or the FBI ignores judicial abuse? The U.S. government is the modern day mafia. Time to rise up. Courtvictim.com. And then he puts, the problem: oath, laws, codes, bills, and legal canons are useless because no one's enforcing anything. And he's right. They're not enforcing anything. They're racketeering, folks, in a lot of these cases, and case fixing for the Title IV funding. What do you say to that?
Well, yeah, I was going to tell you, I just thought immediately of the nursing home industry, who uses other people's money and property to make money off of them. And then it's all about the money. Prisoners being trafficked through the prisons, make sure the damn beds are full.
The prison pipeline,
it's all corrupt. It's all about the money. It's not about what's important, what's good, what's moral, what's decent. It's all about the money.
Absolutely.
We have been infected by money.
Oh yeah, and what's worse is, the CPS family court corruption is they're taking kids, but under the guise of the well-being of the child. But in reality, they're sending these kids to the abusers and ripping them away from the good parents for the Title IV funding, because it's incentivized. They're racketeering, folks.
Right. Kids for cash.
Yep, exactly.
It's no good. We've got to get candidates in office, win elections. It's hard work. It's nothing easy. There's a program now called The Chosen. Jesus says to Pontius Pilate, I am the truth. But he asked Judas, prior to being betrayed by him, if he is ready to do hard things. Folks, this is hard. Why? Because it requires you to participate in the solution.
Well, that's the only way we've ever been able to get effective change for anyway is by public outcry.
Which means you have a responsibility as a citizen of the United States who enjoy the benefits of the United States to do something to protect them.
That means we all need to start backing each other up, folks, that are going through this, regardless of whether we're going through it or not. This affects all of us.
This is not me. This is we. We the people.
We the people, folks. Not the government. We the people. We delegate this power to the states. The states delegate the power to the federal government. But it comes from us, the people. They work for us, not the other way around.
That's it. That message must resonate in America.
Damn right. Damn right.
That's why we're here. And when I say that, I think about all the different social economic groups from the top to the bottom. And I mean the bottom. Because I know the bottom, I know the top. And I know the bottom very well, although I've spent time at the top. But the top always wants to look to see what they can do to create chaos in people's lives to make them poor.
Absolutely.
That's a problem. That's a problem here. It's got to get fixed now. Now.
It does. It does. It absolutely needs to be fixed now. It's out of control. It's completely out of control. Shall we segue into the Twitter files to just give our viewers a kind of brief overview? All right, cool. Because I'm looking forward to this. I've been following this since this started dropping, and they're about to drop part 6. The COVID files next. It hasn't been dropped yet, but it's going to be soon. I want to briefly go over part 1 and then a couple other parts for our viewers. So. The Twitter files, part 1. The removal of Donald Trump, October 2020 through January 6th. 2. Oh wait, is this part 1? Or is this no? Because I think they did. Okay, here we go. The world knows much of the story of what happened between riots at the Capitol on January 6th and the removal of President Donald Trump from Twitter on January 8th. We'll show you what hasn't been revealed. The erosion of standards within the company in months before January 6th, decisions by high-ranking executives to violate their own policies, and more against the backdrops of ongoing, documented interaction with federal agencies. 4. This installment covers the period before the election through January 6th. Tomorrow, Schellenberger, MD, will detail the chaos inside Twitter on January 7th. On Sunday, Barry Weiss will reveal the secret internal communications from the key date of January 8th. 5. Whatever your opinion on the decision to remove Trump that day, the internal communications at Twitter between January 6th and January 8th have clear historical importance. Even Twitter's employees understood in the moment it was a landmark moment in the annals speech. I'm going to open up this image here so our viewers can see it. All right. There we go. It says, is this the first sitting head of state ever to ever be suspended? All right, and that's from there. As soon as they finished banning Trump, Twitter execs started processing new power. They prepared to ban future presidents and White Houses, perhaps even Joe Biden. The new administration says, one exec, will not be suspended by Twitter unless absolutely necessary. Interesting. So this says, as stated in our Twitter policies, rules and policies, ban evasion policy, if it is clear that another account is being used for the purposes of evading a ban, it is also subject to suspension. For government accounts such as POTUS and White House, we will not suspend those accounts, but will take action to limit their use. However, these accounts will be transitioned over to the new administration in due course and will not be suspended by Twitter unless absolutely necessary to alleviate real-world harm. 7. Twitter execs removed Trump in part over what one executive called the context surrounding actions by Trump and supporters over the course of the election, and frankly, for the last 4+ years. In the end, they looked at a broad picture, but that approach can cut both ways. Hi, Vijaya. I'm working with so-and-so on my team to put together a doc to share with you with a person with a POV from research, our academics with whom we have been working, etc., on DJT's Donald J. Trump's language as coded incitement to further violence. In the meantime, here's our quick take. The decision on whether to pull that particular tweet or use that as a last straw for Trump depends on many factors, including 1, the overall context and narrative in which that tweet lives. We currently analyze tweets and consider them at a tweet-by-tweet basis, which does not appropriately take into account the context surrounding. You can use the yelling fire into a crowded theater example. Context matters, and the narrative that Trump and his friends have pursued over the course of this election, and frankly, the last 4+ years, must be taken into account when interpreting and analyzing that tweet. The larger question is around our moral imperative and decision as a company, which user sentiment should not drive based on number 1. And I believe that his tweet does violate. You believe? Okay, well, check this out, folks. They totally are violating their own terms of service. And it's freaking insanity. I mean, and now everybody's up in arms now that all this stuff's being revealed, and they're all freaking out and I'm trying to downplay it. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, you know? No, of course it matters. It matters for historical context, because if we don't know where we've been, we can't figure out where we're going. And we're doomed to repeat the same mistakes. We have to know our history, folks. 8, the bulk of internal debate leading to Trump's ban took place in those 3 January days. However, the intellectual framework was laid in the months preceding the Capitol riots. Before January 6th, Twitter was a unique mix of automated rules-based enforcement and more subjective moderation by senior executives. As Barry Weiss reported, the firm had a vast array of tools for manipulating visibility, most of all which were thrown at Trump and others pre-January 6th. 10, as the election approached, senior executives, perhaps under the pressure from federal agencies with whom they met more as time progressed, increasingly struggled with rules and began to speak of VIOs as pretext to do what they likely have done anyway. 11, after January 6th, internal slacks show Twitter executives getting a kick out of intensified relationships with federal agencies. Here's Trust and Safety's head Yoel Roth lamenting a lack of generic enough calendar descriptions to conceal his very interesting meeting partners. It happens. I'm a big believer in calendar transparency, but I reached a certain point where my meetings became very interesting to people, and there weren't meeting names generic enough to cover. Anyway, let me know. Very boring business meeting. That is definitely not about Trump. Oh, how obvious is that? Pretty much. Definitely not meeting with the FBI. I swear. Like, get the heck out of here.
Right.
Practically admitting to it. 12. These initial reports are based on searches for docs linked to prominent executives whose names are already public. They include Roth, former Trust and Policy Chief Vijay Gadde, and recently plank-walked Deputy General Counsel and former top FBI lawyer Jim Baker, which he was the one responsible for the delay apparently with the very first drop, I guess, and they found that out, which is why there was a delay for the second one. One particular Slack channel offers, and this is 13, one particular Slack channel offers a unique window into the evolving thinking of top officials in late 2020 and early 2021. 14, on October 8th, 2020, executives opened a channel called US 2020 XFN Enforcement. Through J6, this would be home for discussions about election-related removals, especially ones that involved high-profile accounts, often called VITs, or very important tweeters. And this is a screenshot from that internal communication. Hey everyone. Starting tomorrow, October 9th, until November 15th, this channel will be used for the following reasons related to the US 2020 elections. Trends identified that require scaled investigations, high-profile accounts, escalations that potentially require PI, software integration, scalable solutions required, edge cases for XFN consultation. Highlight tech issues, bugs, tools, outage, Jira tickets. This is an enforcement channel between TNS and TWS to help speed up our process our response related to election issues over the coming few weeks. Get will start providing a handover starting APAC shift tomorrow, Friday, October 9th, using the following template: handover. Next shift, EMEA, APA, CNA. Thursday, October 8th, GET, SPSI. Open escalations, none. Notes from the shift. Ask, can you please make sure everyone on your team is within the channel? The teams that we included are as follows: site integrity, safety policy, product trust, safety operations, media ops, global escalation team. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. 15, there was at least some tension between safety operators, a larger department whose staffers used a more rules-based processing for addressing issues like porn, scams, and threats, and a smaller, more powerful cadre of senior execs like Roth and Gotti. 16, The latter group were a high-speed Supreme Court of moderation, issuing content rulings on the fly, often in minutes and based on guesses, gut calls, even Google searches, even in cases involving the president. And this is a tweet from, and this is a internal communication regarding a tweet that Trump made October 9th, 2020. Breaking news, 50,000 Ohio voters getting wrong absentee ballots, out of control, a rigged election. And then I guess I'm not sure who this other person is, but they say a rigged election would be enough to be in violation, right? And then Joel Roth says, if the claim of fact were inaccurate, yes, but it looks like that's true, and they admit that it's true.
Right.
Okay, even in this internal communication, which is wow, I'm just appalled at the absolute lack of ethics here.
Right.
17. During this time, executives were also clearly liaisoning with federal enforcement and intelligence agencies about moderation of election-related content. While we're still at the start of reviewing the Twitter files, we're finding out more about these interactions every day. 18. Policy Director Nick Pickles, well, what a hell of a last name. I would not want to have that last name. That's weird. Is asked if they should say Twitter detects misinfo through machine learning, human review, and partnerships with outside experts. The employee asks, "I know that's been a slippery process. Not sure if you want our public explanation to hang on that."
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me open up this image so we can see it full screen. I'll read that for our viewers. Yeah, and this is why context is important, folks. You know, you can, if you don't have context for what you're talking about, it can be taken out of context, and that happens far too often. And that's also a tactic by certain people that are on the opposite side trying to suppress information. You know, it's a very common tactic they've been using, and this is evidence of that. And Pickles, are you comfortable with marketing talking about misinfo by saying that we detect it through machine learning, human review, and partnerships with outside experts? I know it's been a slippery process, so I'm not sure if you want our public explanation to hang on that. Can we just say partnerships? And Nick Pickles says, not sure if we describe the FBI, DHS as experts or some NGOs that aren't academic. So there you go, folks. So, 19. Pickles quickly asked if they could just say partnerships after his pause. After a pause, he says, not sure we describe FBI, DHS as experts. This post is about the Hunter. Okay, so this is part 20, or this is 20, not part 20. This is 20 of this section, this drop. This post about the Hunter Biden laptop situation shows that Roth not only met with the FBI and DHS, but with the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, DNI. A bot application. Yoler has checked in. Here's what they said. What's new for you since our last check-in? Hacked materials exploded. We blocked the NYP story. Then we unblocked it. But this said the opposite. Then said we unblocked it. And now we're in a messy situation where our policy is in shambles. Comms is angry. Reporters think we're idiots. And we're refactoring an exceedingly complex policy 18 days out from the election. In short, FML, weekly sync with FBI, DHS, DNI, regarding election security. The meeting happened about 15 minutes after the aforementioned hack materials implosion. The government declined to share anything useful when asked. Monthly meeting with FBI, FITF, briefed on several ongoing investigations. 21. Roth's report to FBI, DHS, DNI is almost farcical in its self-flagellating tone. We blocked the NYP story, but then unblocked it, but said the opposite. Comms is angry, reporters think we're idiots. In short, FML means fuck my life. So here we go. So we already read over that, but that's just another screenshot of that. So we got 23. Some of Roth's later slacks indicate his weekly confabs with federal law enforcement involved in separate meetings. Here he goes to the FBI and DHS respectively to go first to an Aspen Institute thing, then take a call with Apple. Hi there. Or hey there, I have to miss the FBI and DHS meetings today, unfortunately. I saw you're on the invites for both as our site policy. Can you give me a quick read about it if there's anything interesting that comes up? Patrick Conlon says, sure thing, I hope everything's okay. Roth says, just have conflicts at both times. An Aspen Institute thing is more important. Is this morning on vaccines that I have to present at, oh God, of course it's about vaccines. Okay. Pushing that shit too on the side. And then a call with Apple to avoid us getting kicked out of the App Store during the Department of Homeland Security one. Those both seem very important. 24. Here, the FBI sends reports about a pair of tweets, the second of which involves former Tippecanoe County, Indiana councilor and Republican named John Basham, claiming between 2% and 25% of the ballots by mail are being rejected for errors. We just got a report from the FBI concerning 2 tweets. 1.131, I'm not going to read all that number, related to the shredding of mail-in ballots, which this is proven to be false via this. Oh, political fact. Of course, yeah, because your fact checkers are obviously unbiased. Get the heck out of here. They're they're opinion checkers. And this is known fact since at least November of last year. Oh, wow. These bastards got no scruples. I believe it was deemed no VO on numerous occasions. Okay. So,
oh yeah, this is propagandist. This is rules for radicals.
Oh yeah,
this is how to destroy
this is the absolute proof of government collusion with these companies to silence Americans and political opponents, folks.
Censor them.
This is not within their jurisdiction. They are clearly They are clearly colluding with Twitter here in these files. Absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, 100%.
Definitely. Dr. Shiva, he's proved it in his run for the U.S. Senate in Massachusetts. He actually filed a lawsuit against these big tech companies and found out that the government, through the CIA, was colluding with them to censor candidates who they didn't like. I mean, that's intelligence. What we're dealing with now, this is intelligence.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Yeah, it's government intelligence agencies that are involved.
Right.
These intelligence agencies were never supposed to be turned on the American people.
No.
Folks. Never.
Right.
Never.
Mm-hmm. That's it. I mean, this started in 1947 with the UFO situation there in Roswell, and it has proliferated now to DHS, to Department of Homeland Security. Then you had, I think 9/11 was a setup. It was an inside job.
Oh, I agree.
I think people have got blood on their hands everywhere. And I hate to be, a generalist about this, but come on, people, start getting smart here.
If it acts like a duck and walks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Folks, use some common sense discernment, folks. That's all you got to do. Critical thinking skills.
Stop being the sheep. Get smart. Start reading. Start Googling. Start growing.
Absolutely.
I understand you have families and you require attention to your children. Read to them. This is what we have to do as a culture to remain free if we're going to be free. Right now, we're not free.
No, we're not at all.
Abused, and misused by a tyrannical government who does not care other than for itself.
Yep.
The income tax is illegal. You hear that, government? You're illegal. Why? Because in 1895, the United States Supreme Court said you were. But you don't care. What kind of government do we have, and what kind of government will we have? That is the big question.
Yep. And right now, we do not have a government of the people, by the people, for the people.
No, we don't.
Clearly.
This government is hurting our people, our kids. God did not create this to be ruled by a bunch of tyrants.
Damn right he didn't. This has gone too far, folks. If we don't fight for these kids that are the real victims of a lot of this corruption, we don't have any future generations going forward. Okay? This is a fight for all the chips on the table globally. This is a global battle, folks. Whether you realize it or not, this is a fight for the future of mankind right now.
The Ball Doctrine, creating peace and prosperity for all nations, is being read at the United Nations right now. I expect I will be there soon to pass out 193 copies of the book on 8 continents with 8 political parties. It is time, people. We rise above the cloud. We're the eagles. We're looking down. They're looking up. Let us do our job. Let us be the vanguard of society. Let us be we the people.
Yes, we the people.
We are the Americans. You have the Democrats, the Libertarians, the Republicans, the Constitutionalists, the Libertarians. Well, guess what? Now you have the Americans. Family first. And what is our color of choice? It is white. And why is that? Because white is in the flag of the United States. And what does that represent? Integrity, honesty, veracity, everything that is good and moral. Hello.
Oh, I did not know that. That's good to know. I didn't know that those colors had had symbolic meaning. That's really fascinating. That's really good to know. Thank you.
The American Party of America, the American National Committee are the white of the flag, besides the blue and the red that the Republicans and the Democrats wish to adopt. Well, guess what? We're the white states, and we believe in the family first movement.
Family first. Yes, absolutely.
We also believe you cannot raise a family on minimum wage.
No, you can't. You have people are working 3-4 jobs just to scrape by with everything going on right now, and even with all that, I mean, just look at how much damage has been done to our economy with just the mandates alone.
People, this is by design. Do you think this just happened overnight? This has been going on for some time. Nobody's been saying anything about it except for maybe Nancy Schaefer, and she's gone. Folks, yeah. We have got to get smart. We've got to learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got to start educating ourselves. We got to learn from our
mistakes. Those who will not learn are doomed to repeat them.
Yep. That's why history is important, folks. That's why all this stuff matters. You know, all this stuff that's coming out now via the Twitter drops and other sources. For example, the Marco Polo Biden laptop report. Yeah, I mentioned it. I don't care. You're not going to censor me because we got multiple platforms. And we're covering it. By the way, we're going to be doing part 2 of the Biden laptop report deep dive this Friday. And we're going to be going over the business crimes. We did part 1 last Friday, and we got like a good 25 pages through good 25 pages, but it's so dense and there's so much materials to cover. We didn't even get to the actual crime section yet with the table and all the jurisdictions, but we're going to be getting into that this following week, and we'll have an article for you as well, and we're going to be going into that and really looking at the hard evidence and see what we can prove just from that alone. And there's a lot there, folks, but that's coming soon. So don't forget, folks, this whole Twitter files drop. If you notice, the mainstream media is covering mostly that. You don't hear anything about the Marco Polo Biden laptop report, but you will hear it from us. And everybody needs to look at what they're not reporting. Okay?
I want to thank you, Stephen, for today's show. It's been interesting. Hopefully we'll have our guests on here in the next one. But in the meantime, I think we've covered some very important topics, and we are in a civil war as far as I'm concerned, and it can only get worse unless we make it better.
Absolutely. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, folks. That's what you need to understand. When you have no incentive to do the right thing, you have unchecked powers, and that's the situation that we're in right now.
Before we go, I want to tell the people we're making plans right now for our airport rallies in Florida in the first quarter of 2023. We'll be telling you more about this. Please consider attending. We will have something to give to you to take with you when you leave. And we are very encouraged by events as they happen. If you want to know more, please go to the Facebook page at Dennis Ball and or go to the AOA-ANC.org website. There you will see the airplane, an airplane that is coming, and as a consequence, will provide the support to see and hear me and others across the nation, around the world. making history. Finally, praise
Making
God.
history. Thank you so much for jumping on with us, Dennis, and I appreciate everything that you do, and we're glad to have you on every Tuesday. We think that I have a lot of respect for what you're doing, because you're on the ground trying to do something about it, much like I am, and all the naysayers, well, we don't really care what they think, because they got nothing to do but complaints. So
They got nothing to offer to solve these problems. They have nothing.
exactly.
Just a bunch of whiners.
Be the change you want to see in the world, folks. That's the axiom that I live by.
It's a good one.
Thank you so much. I'll see you again next Tuesday.
All right.
Discussing more
God bless.
corruption. We'll probably cover some of the part 6 of the Twitter files as well, briefly, because that ties into the whole CV19 issue. So we'll cover that briefly as well. I'm also probably going to do a special report on it as well sometime during the week when it drops. So look forward to that, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be seeing you soon. This is Campaign for America, the American Party of America, episode 10. All right, I'm going to play your outro real quick, and then we'll wrap it up.